When I was 22 years old, the church I was attending organised a missions trip to China. I was very scared, but I knew God wanted me to go. The first week in China, we smuggled Bibles across the border, which was very frightening. With at least 20 small Bibles slotted into pockets in a long skirt, which was underneath a large and heavy skirt, we stood in queues while we were waiting to go through the security to cross into China. People did go into prison for this back then, so I was quite scared. But I held on to his word to trust in the Lord with all my heart and with all my mind. And we ended up getting those Bibles through the border. The second week, we visited orphanages. The trip involved a 51-hour train trip right into the heart of China. We arrived to the area where the children from the ages of 3 months to 8 years were sitting down having lunch. And what I saw and experienced next has impacted my life. Young babies, fewer than 2, sitting in wooden high chairs with what I'd call rags on and flies all over their faces, sitting there, lifeless, nothing. To my horror, I noticed the high chairs had holes in them, and directly underneath was an old metal bowl. And then I realized no child had nappies on. These bowls were actually their toilets. An overwhelming sadness and an absolute disbelief flooded my heart. I will never forget their blank faces. There was lifeless, no eye contact with anyone as they sat there feeding themselves. A little later, we were able to feed the children, which took a little time for them to trust in us and to understand what we were doing. I helped feed the babies and talk to older kids as much as you can with a language barrier. However, even with this barrier, the touch and smiles spoke volumes to them. For the next few hours, we were able to play games with the other kids, kick balls around and sang Christian songs to them. I was able to hold the babies and pray for them. Right there, my heart sank. These beautiful babies who had very little touch, smiles, or joy expressed to them started to respond with smiles and holding on and then starting to laugh. I couldn't hold it together any longer. I had to go outside and I absolutely sobbed uncontrollably. Oh God, was this worse for them to know some love and then we're going to walk out? But God was not walking out of their lives. In Job 29:12, it says, because I rescued the poor who cried for help and the fatherless who had none to assist them. Oh God, you have a plan for these children and a hope and a future and will never forsake them. I still pray for these little babies now. They would be probably young adults now. And I pray that they would know God's love and that they would cling on to that and love him forever. Amen.